It demolished all the cabins and washed away the pier and the dock and knocked down a bunch of trees on Adventure Island. And Mr. Kinney was an old man like me. He didn't have the stamina or the resources to rebuild at that point in his life. He put the island up for sale. And it sold right away to a family down in East Texas, the Carroll's family, K-A-R-E-L-S. They lived at various times in Elkhart, Palestine, and Tyler. They came up here regularly because it's always 30 degrees cooler up here. Today is a hot day compared to East Texas. The Piney Woods of East Texas, 100 degrees down there and very humid, muggy, terrible. They loved coming up here. They did it regularly until 2007, when Mr. and Miss Carrolls were wiped out in a head-on car crash in Palestine, Texas, leaving the island to their boys. And they hardly use it. They come up once a year, and when they come up, the two boys, they bring 40 to 60 family members with them from East Texas, and they have a family reunion on Adventure Island. They barbecue on the island, and they powerboat around, and they have a great time. And then they go back to hot, muggy East Texas at Labor Day when it's over, and we don't see them again until the next year. Now, the next island is also owned by a family out of state. It is my favorite island. It's called Little Strawberry Island. And the reason I like it, they've got a beautiful pier and a dock and a gorgeous two-story home right in the middle facing us, and it's well maintained by the Stutz family. I don't know if you've been to St. Louis along the Mississippi River in the summertime. Hot and muggy, but it's only a day's drive. 25 degrees cooler up here, so Liz Stutz and her husband and the girls come up several times. We'll see them on occasion paddling kayaks around Little Strawberry Island. Now, the next island to the right is Jack Island. Little Strawberry Island is 10 acres. Adventure Island is 44 acres. And the third island in the chain is 6 acres. That's Jack Island. It's locally owned. And I've got to tell you, I am very envious of the man who owns Jack Island locally, because he does what I wish I could do. When he has guests in from out of town, he says, hey, you want to go have a picnic on my island? He puts that pretty lady in a boat, and they go over there and have a picnic. And then when they're finished, he takes the party back to Fish Creek where he lives. I've always wanted to have an island to take beautiful girls on a picnic. But driving a trolley, I'll never have the money to have one of these very expensive islands. There are 43 islands in Door County right now, none of them for sale, all in private hands. Well, if you had permission, you could only stand on 34 of them today. Why? High water. Green Bay and Lake Michigan are higher than they've been in the last 3 or 4 years, but it is cyclical. It happens over the centuries. High water, and then a few years later, low water. Cyclical over the centuries. In a few years, you're going to be able to stand on 43 islands, but right now only 34 above the high water mark. The last island over there is kind of hard to see. Can you see that clump of trees and shrubs out there way to the right? That's Pirate Island. Now, the man who owned it, he doesn't own it anymore. He got tired of paying taxes to the state of Wisconsin for an island he couldn't use. It's now in state hands. Because if you're out there today, it's 2/10 of 1 acre. When the waters are down, if you're out there today, your feet are going to be wet. Not much use for Pirate Island. What I'd like you to do next is look over the islands we've been talking about, 7 miles out. You see that long strip of land? Yeah. That's the second largest island in Door County. Anybody know the name of it? Anybody know the name of the largest island in Door County? We mentioned it on the trolley earlier. Washington. Yeah, Washington Island. Both of those islands were named in 1816 by a contingent of Army men coming from Fort Mackinac to build Fort Howard. I want to test your knowledge of American history here just a bit. Who did we, America, defeat in the Revolutionary War? The British, of course. We beat them again in the War of 1812. But in 1816, they were still up here trying to get the Indians to revolt against us. And those men were under orders to come down, build Fort Howard, where Green Bay is today, and stop that from happening. They built it in 1816, right where in the middle of Green Bay, where the train station is today. That's where the Packers used to leave for their away games until they discovered flying by air in the 60s. They liked that better. Right across the Fox River, there's a distillery, not a distillery, but a brewery there today, I think. But that's where Fort Howard was originally built. But they spent the night up here on Washington Island first. Big island, 28.3 square miles in area. Where Chambers Island is 4 times smaller, the second largest, but we talk about it in acres. The park is 3,776 acres. Chambers Island is 2,834 acres. It's a big island. The baseline road, corner to corner on the island, is 7.5 miles long. So you need transportation when you're over there on Chambers Island. It really is unique. Up until a few years ago, it was just like going back in America as a pioneer 150 years ago. No modern conveniences, no electricity, no sewer, no plumbing, no gas, no water, no nothing. You got plenty of water to take your showers out of the bay, but you couldn't drink it. So when you go over there, you had no reception of any kind. It was a great way for families to enjoy togetherness. You'd play games together and you could read or write, go to bed, get up with the sun, go to bed with the sun. But a few years ago, the grandkids were saying, Grandpa, I don't want to go to Chambers Island. There's no Wi-Fi over there. So the wealthy landowners, 50 private establishments or 50 buildings over there on the island, wealthy landowners, all in private hands, they convinced Cellular One to put up a cell phone antenna. So now they've got cell phone and Wi-Fi right in the middle of the island on the last 20%. You can see it over there to my right, or to my left, your right. But really, the waters out there are quite treacherous. It may look calm and peaceful. Don't try to go to Chambers Island in a kayak or a canoe. You probably won't make it. There are big ships that have foundered out there, so be very careful. People don't go over there casually. If you do go over there, you're trespassing anywhere you set foot except Chambers Island Lighthouse Pier. But no public transportation to it except twice a year. The Maritime Museum takes a lighthouse tour, Chambers Island Lighthouse tour, in early June a couple of times, mid-October, fall color, a couple of times. But otherwise, you got to have your own boat to get to your cabin over there. Wealthy people, they got pretty good sized boats. You don't go over and back casually. The waters out there are really treacherous. So you take everything you're going to need for your stay out there in the summer, whether it's a week, a month, or all summer long. Everything you're going to need for that trip. I mean, think about that. Toilet paper, food, beer, wine, liquor, detergent, sheets, towels, linens, everything you're going to need. Water, drinking water for the month or the summer, because there are a couple of wells over there, but they're not very dependable, and you can't drink the lake water. You can shower in it, but you got to have something to drink. Now, over there is something going on that's fairly interesting. There's a 368-acre lake on Chambers Island. And by the way, if you fly over it in an airplane, from up here it looks like a long strip of land. But when you look at it on a map or fly over it in an airplane, it looks like a great big pork chop. And by looking at you men, I know you want to know what pork chops are, right? But over there, that 368-acre lake that's in the middle of the island, it's the third largest lake in Door County over there, after Kangaroo Lake and Clark Lake. Over there is McCasey Lake, M-A-C-K-A-Y-S-E-E, McCasey Lake. Now, on McCasey Lake is something of a geological nature that makes it unique in America. On McCasey Lake are two islands. Think about that for a minute. Nowhere else in America you have islands in a lake, lake in an island, island in a bay, and bay in a lake. Don't ask me to say that again. Because we're 225 feet above the water, it's pretty easy to see the fireworks tonight, July the 4th, from Marinette, Wisconsin across the bay, and the sister city, Menominee, Michigan. It's only 14 miles right behind me. On a clock face, it's about 10:30. Right behind me, 14 miles. If you've got a boat, a fishing boat, or a jet ski, you can be over there in a couple hours. Or put one of these teenagers right there behind the helm and you'll be over there in 30 minutes. The other thing you could do, take your snowmobile over there in December, because you're looking at the largest body of water in America. It's 40 miles wide, 100 miles long. It's fresh water, of course, Green Bay, that completely freezes over every winter to a depth of 4 to 5 feet thick ice. So after Christmas and before New Year's, if you want to come up here in your truck on Shore Road, you can drive out on the ice and you can drive to Green Bay. But I wouldn't, because it's not all 4 to 5 feet thick ice. And if your truck hits a shallow spot and goes down 120 feet water depth, kiss that truck goodbye for the rest of your lifetime. You're not going to raise it to the surface from water that deep. Folks, on the trolley, it's picture taking time. Line up anywhere you want, and I'll shoot a picture of you, your wife or family or girlfriend, and then we'll load up the